Hello, welcome to a review of my 2021 goals. I'm a little crusty, a little dusty today, but I think that is a perfect reflection of the year that we have had. Though I am feeling pretty confident about these goals, I'm going to rewatch the video that I published on January 1st of this year. I'm fairly sure that I completed all of these goals. I rewatched it a couple months ago just to remind myself, but I'm pretty sure we're good. I am going to be publishing my 2022 goals on Thursday, so subscribe if you are not already, if you are interested in seeing that. Okay, I think that's enough rambling. We can get started. Oh, I can't wear a headband and headphones. Sure I can. We'll make it work. Also, this video is one of the first that I filmed, and hopefully there have been some improvements on my channel, so the quality of this, lighting, content, all of the above might be a bit challenging. For me, you'll be fine.
Hello and welcome to 2021. The first goal, as always, is the Goodreads number, the number of books that you want to read in a year. And this year I'm going to set mine at 50.
So I did set my Goodreads goal to 50, and then once I had gotten to like 60 books, I think, I upped it to 100. And so far this year I have read 121 books, I believe. So yeah, easily attained 50 and attained 100, so pretty proud of myself for that one.
Second goal is to finish my 2020 must read. This is something I did last year. I had a list of 7 books that I had to read by the end of 2020, or I had to unhaul them or officially take them off of my TBR. I read 5 of them. There were 2 that I did not finish. They are Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman and A Closed and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers.
So I did end up reading both of those pretty late in the game. I only finished Thunderhead last month, and it was hard to push myself to read it. I just super wasn't in the mood. I don't generally read series, but both of them were amazing and both of them 5 stars.
My third goal is a 2021 must-read list. I only put 5 on it this year. These are books that have been on my TBR for a really long time, so I just have to commit and get them read or admit it to myself that I'm never actually going to read them. The first is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I have no idea.
Read it. Did not enjoy it. I don't know where I heard about this from, but it just really wasn't a me type of book.
Yeah, how to say it. I'm really sorry. Second is After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid.
A book that I just finished less than a week ago because I knew that I had to read it for my 2021 must read. It was good. I gave it 3 stars. Some of it was better than 3 stars, some of it was worse than 3 stars, so we settled on that.
Third is Life After Life by Kate Atkinson.
Okay, so Life After Life, I DNF'd. It still sounds like something that I should like, but it was way too long, and I got the audiobook for it, and I really didn't enjoy the audiobook. And so for something that is so long and epic, I think it's about someone reliving the same day, or they can't die. I know it was mentioned in Addie LaRue, so I assume it has some kind of plot like that, but I just couldn't get into it, and it's over 500 pages, so I'm not going to commit to it. I'm okay with removing that from my TBR.
Fourth is Becoming by Michelle Obama.
Read it. I loved it so much. I read this pretty early in the year, and it gave me a little bit of a crisis, but in a good way. Who knows?
And the last one is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This one I had actually started in 2020 and just couldn't get into it.
So I'm pretty good about DNFing things usually, and Gideon the Ninth was one that I wanted to DNF, but I felt obligated to read it, so I did. And I really didn't like it. I gave it 1 star. I thought it was poorly written and really confusing, and it just wasn't a good time, but at least I read it.
My fourth goal is to prioritize reading diversely. I feel like I prioritize it for a little bit and then it falls off, and then I remember and I read really diversely again, so I just want to prioritize it. My fifth...
So I did. Let me pull up the numbers on my spreadsheet in a second, but this was definitely something that I had a couple of rules for myself. The first was in February, I did Black History Month and read exclusively Black authors, so that definitely helped my numbers a little bit. My other rule was, because I'm quite picky in the books that I read, the one thing that I'm not picky in is romance. So anytime that I hear about a romance book by an author of color that I'm even vaguely interested in, I put it on my TBR. So I think in romance, I actually did end up reading pretty diversely. But let me get the number for you. The way that I track it on my personal spreadsheet, it's not foolproof by any means, but I track whether it is an LGBTQ plus author or a BIPOC author or both. And then I also track whether the characters in it are either of those, either main characters or side characters, and I like have a way of figuring that out. So apparently 52 of the books that I read were by an author of color or an LGBTQ plus author, which is way more than I thought it would be. That's 43% authors of color, which is really good. I mean, higher is always better, but for not having like a formal strategy of how to actually achieve that, 43 is really good. And yeah, there's a lot of romance on it, but a good number of other things, some fantasy, some thrillers. That makes me really happy. Excellent. So I think going forward next year, I am going to try to implement both of those things again. No promises. It's not a formal goal. Like, it's a formal goal to read diversely, but I seem to have cracked the code, so I'm very happy with that. Okay, back to the list. I have to stop patting myself on the back for doing the bare minimum.
Goal is to read The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. I don't know why I looked. I know who wrote this.
So here's the thing. I tried. I started filming a whole vlog for it. I have a bunch of footage. I made it to about page 100 and I just don't care. I think one of the goals coming up on here is to reread, and that's another one that I didn't accomplish. I think I just don't like rereading. I just don't enjoy when I know where a story is going. I don't want to waste my time doing it. I regret saying this. I might still try to finish it because there is an audiobook and I could just mindlessly listen to it, but like then I'm only completing it for the sake of completing this goal. I've gotten over the fact that I haven't read the book before because it makes me seem like a fake fan of Lord of the Rings. And I'm a completionist, so I might try. Ugh, I hate that. Okay, I'm gonna make a note for myself on this very messy desk. L-O-T-R. There. It's on the post-it. I'm gonna put it right here so I see it every day. And in the next week and a half, I'll try to finish it. And even if I don't, like, I have gotten over the imposter syndrome that I felt. Like, let's just hear what I say.
I have started and stopped this book probably half a dozen times in my life. I think the problem is just because I know the movie so well and it's a really good adaptation of this, they took all of the best parts and there's a bunch of boring nonsense. Not nonsense. I do want to read it.
You can see me slip up that there's a bunch of boring nonsense in there, which is like the way that I truly feel, but I want to not feel that way. It's a good goal to have. It's a very lofty goal, but I'm not disappointed that I didn't meet it, though I may still meet it.
My sixth goal is to do all of the monthly buzzwords for the Buzzword Readathon.
So I did that. Every single month, I even have a tier ranking list where I rank all of them. If you are interested, click.
Number 7 is something that I just came up with. I wanted to have some kind of monthly challenge for myself that still gave a lot of freedom for my mood reading. And so what I've decided is to read a book published in the current month, but not the current year.
So I did that too. I combined ranking this challenge and the BuzzFeed in that video that is already linked, and I really enjoyed it. I just managed to do it every month. It was a great way to organize my reading and challenge myself. And did I read some bum books because of it? Maybe, but I accomplished the goal.
My 8th goal is to read books that I like. I'm going to be more specific with what I'm picking and not just picking whatever is popular on booktube at the moment.
So I still really like this goal. I think this is something that maybe I won't formalize next year, but is something that I really want to focus on. In having a booktube channel, I don't want to just be going for views. I want to be actually enjoying what I'm reading. And I think I did that for the most part. I do enjoy some of the challenges that I set for myself, and sometimes they don't really work out. But I'm also very good at DNFing. Challenging myself with books that I might not necessarily like is good, as long as I don't force myself to read them. And I think I did really well at that this year. Right now, my average rating for the year is sitting at a 3.6, which is lower than last year, but I also think I'm being more harsh with my ratings. I've still read a lot of things that I really enjoyed this year.
My 9th goal is to go easy on the book buying. This is always a little bit of a tough one, but I don't want to get dragged down into the booktube consumerism, and I do get a lot of my books from the library, so I will definitely keep that up. I just want to make sure that I take it easy on the impulse buys especially. And my final...
Okay, so I didn't do that. Okay, I'm gonna go back through my hauls and count how many books I bought this year. Immediately, my lists include things that I bought and things that I got from the little free library, but that still counts. So I bought 74 books this year. Wow, that's bad. Wow, that's really bad. I definitely don't think I went overboard with the book buying. I am still very conscious of what I buy. In general, I don't like place a mass order and get a bunch of stuff at once because there's a sale. I like pre-order things that I'm interested in and know a lot about the books that I buy before getting them. But 74 is definitely not going easy. Though if I read 121 books this year, then like I'm still using my library, well, not 50%, less than 50%, but a lot of the books that I buy too are books that I have already read and loved and I want to have for my collection, which is probably actually a worse reason to buy a book now that I think of it. Anyway, that is a failure, but like, it's not that bad. I was still very conscientious about the books that I was buying. I just bought quite a few of them. I'm going to go through them and see how many of the books by the end of the year of the 74 that I have read. Here is the number after I do it. Hopefully that number's good. I assume it'll be at least 50%. I hope it's at least 50%. Okay, back to the humiliation. Last goal.
Goal is to reread. I don't reread basically at all. There was one book I reread in 2019. There are a couple of books specifically that I want to reread in anticipation of The Heart Principle. I want to reread the other Helen Huang books, The Kiss Quotient and The Bride Test.
So I did try to reread The Kiss Quotient and I couldn't do it. I don't know why. I made it like one chapter in and I don't know if I just wasn't feeling it that day or I just like hate rereading with everything in my soul, but I couldn't do it. I didn't reread anything this year. And I think I'm okay with that. I would love to be a person who rereads, but I don't think I'm that person. So I don't want to force myself to not have fun. But it does feel like wrong to be like, this is my favorite book, but I've only read it once 3 years ago. Like that feels wrong. So I'm going to keep like making the effort to do it, but it seems like it's just not in me, which is like annoying and disappointing, but it's just who I am. So that's a fail on the final goal. What a way to go out. Yeah, my editing has also definitely improved since then. That was... See, I was going to say it wasn't as painful as I thought, but I remembered all of the goals that I completed, and I didn't remember the goals that I didn't complete, and I didn't realize I bought 74 books in a year. Not bought, attained, but like, still. Here's the number of books that I bought versus got for free. But overall, I had a successful reading year. I did really well at reading diversely, so I'm happy about that. Didn't do well at rereading or not buying books. and that's okay. It's just a way to think about my reading differently, which I really enjoy. And I think that being on booktube has only been beneficial for my reading, which is a relief. It was something I was definitely worried about a year ago, but we're doing okay. That's 2021 wrapped up. I will still have a video for all of my stats and stuff, but those are all of the goals. The only one I have to complete is reading all of the Lord of the Rings in a week and a half, and that's easy. I can do that. Thank you for joining me. If you have any suggestions of goals that should go on my 2022 list, please let me know. I'm going to be filming that very soon, and I'm very excited about it. So if you have any input, I would really appreciate it. Let me know how your 2021 reading went too, if you accomplished everything that you wanted to. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.